So this is going to be a response video to an earlier video, a video that came out a few days ago, discussing collecting figures. And one of the things I mentioned was to try to avoid getting into a collection that you later regret. And I mentioned sports card collecting, which I really regret. And so somebody asked a question, made a comment. JJ Barras Jr., you spent a lot of money on sports cards, but did you have fun? That's what matters the most. And the thumbs up. So that's a really interesting question, and I had to think about it for a little bit. But definitely, I would say yes, I had fun. Do I wish I hadn't done it? Absolutely. So why do I wish I hadn't done something that I found fun? So I'm type of person, I love to sit there and with sports cards, it's kind of like a combination of collecting, and then I would sit there every day and go through the box scores and see how certain players were doing and look at their placement in awards, MVP, Rookie of the Year, Heisman Trophy, things like that. So it took up a lot of my time, and but I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed doing stuff like that when I got my job. Then my career is in data analysis, so I liked that kind of stuff. But at the time, I thought I was creating something. I thought I was building something. This is just an example of some of the cards that I haven't tried to sell. So these would be kind of some of the best, and I could tell you these probably will sell for $2-3. At the time when I was collecting, so we have one from 1991. These are from 84, so these are a bit older. I don't know. Okay, so this is 1990, but I was collecting mostly in the late 80s, early to mid 90s, and then I quit. And I was collecting every sport: basketball, hockey, baseball, football, everything. And looking back, I feel like I was scammed, and it was an intentional scamming of all the sports card collectors at the time. One of the things that I looked at was certain recent players. So, for instance, Wade Boggs. This card probably at some point was worth, I don't know, 40, 50, $60. But other cards too, whether it's Roger Clemens, Darryl Strawberry, certain stars at the time who were still active were worth, decent amount of money, enough to make it worthwhile to open packs. But over time, those prices dropped. And I think the biggest villain in this story is Beckett Magazine, Beckett Price Guide. They would come out with a price guide every month, and so I'd go through the price guide and look at what are the prices doing. They were lies because, and I'll tell you why I say that. They would sit there and they would claim that the way they would come up with these prices is by going around to sports card stores and different. There was no internet at the time, but they would go to different, what is it, like sports card conventions and things like that, look at the prices and then come up with the average. Now, I can tell you that going out, every sports card store I'd see was selling at half Beckett. So unless there was a whole other group of stores selling at twice Beckett, their prices were lies. And their prices were also inflating the prices. And so they were, in my opinion, lying, and then people were believing it. But these card companies were massively overproducing. So I believe that Major League Baseball would allow 5 different companies to create sets. So they were trying to limit the amount of sets, but I think every company was allowed to make each individual company 3 different versions of their set. So they might have a premium one and a cheaper one. And so you no longer would have a rookie card, because it's like, well, which is the rookie card? Is the rookie card, if you're coming out with a whole, I don't think there was ever 15 rookies, but there could be multiple rookies. So which is the good one? Which is the one that you really want? And then they were doing a lot more with like pre-rookie cards. So this, for instance, was his draft pick, and Manny Ramirez. I'm not sure what year he started, but sometimes they could come out with cards years before they started. But it became very difficult to figure out what the rookie card is, and so I was buying up everything. I had that FOMO. I was young, and trying to get everything, and most of it was garbage. Now, the one that I always think of, that I did sell some of them, was Frank Thomas. And the thing with Frank Thomas is Frank Thomas, I believe he was with Chicago his entire career. He was a fantastic player, probably MVP. I don't remember. I just know that he was a major star. And as far as I can recall, was never accused of doing steroids. So he was kind of an anomaly during that era. And I could tell you that I had rookie cards of him I probably bundled 3 rookie cards together and sold it for like $2.99, because none of these cards are worth anything. They were massively overproduced. People were buying them like crazy because they believed that they were collectible. And one of the rules of thumb I would say is never collect anything that's seen as collectible, particularly items that are relatively cheap. Beanie Babies, Funko Pop, stuff like that. Particularly the mass-produced ones. So like this one here, Barry Sanders, this would be his rookie card. It's from when he was with Oklahoma State. But Pro Set was producing massive amounts to keep up with the demand because people had an exuberance over the sport. So rather than look back on these cards with some kind of, these are probably some of my favorite. I was a big fan of Emmitt Smith. I don't really care about Derek Jeter, but, I know he's one of the most popular players. But just nothing was worth it. So when I look on my collection, it's not with a look of fondness or nostalgia. It's I don't like. I want to get rid of it. If I could sell every single card, even these, I would dump them. And they're hard to sell, because if you go online, just about any card on eBay, I bet there's probably 50 to 100 people selling this exact same card. So the prices will never be worth anything, and I see people sell like lots of 25 or lots of 50. So that it will never be worth anything, because there's just the supply is way beyond the demand. And there's other problems. For instance, back in these are some cards that I have that are worth a lot. This is a Jackie Robinson, a fairly early in his career, Sandy Koufax. These cards were all given to me by an uncle, Brooks Robinson. Now, back in those days, not only were less people buying them, but people would do things like take their cards and put them in their bicycle spokes to make a sound. And so they weren't seen as collectible. People would not treat them well. Now, in this case, everyone was taking them, putting them immediately into sleeves, hard cases. So not only do you have an incredible volume of cards, but you have an incredible volume that are in mint condition. And people were buying up tons and tons. Barry Sanders, I buy tons. And so there's no way for it to accumulate any value because there's just too much of it. And sports card collectors, they tend to be, they want the newest new thing. And so Barry Sanders was a great player, but they want the current stars or the upcoming stars or whatever. And that's what people get into. So, at the time, yes, I enjoyed it, but I think that it is entirely possible to enjoy something in the moment and look back with tremendous regret. And if I could go back and talk to myself prior, I would have said, do not waste your time. Do not waste your money. This is a lousy collectible. And the answer to the question is, I had fun. I had a lot of fun, but I definitely regret doing it. And my time could have been better served. And as I said, rather than something that I look at with my collection with pride or anything, I look at it with regret and somewhat embarrassment, because I feel like I was taken advantage of by a company that was trying to trick people, and the card manufacturers also, with all sorts of different special editions and limited runs and all this crap. Anyway, so that's my take on sports card collecting. Definitely my biggest regret in collecting.